What's up, y'all? Welcome back to MSM Audio. I'm Tim. Thank y'all for tuning in. Today, I'll be discussing 3 reasons I use parallel compression with Native Instruments Supercharger GT. It's a continuation from my last video discussing 3 reasons I believe you should be using Supercharger GT in your mixes. Those reasons being: 1, it's versatile, combining both saturation and compression. 2, it's a time saver if you need something with a simple user interface. It's fast, has a good high impact on your sound, and it doesn't have some of the more complex features for compression and saturation. So it's also less CPU intensive. You can save resources. And the third reason being it just sounds good, in my opinion. Combining both compression and saturation, you get some really interesting sonic characteristics. But there are some drawbacks. Just to give some context, I had this bass sound that I found. And it's a really aggressive sounding bass, has some, like a growling feel, saw kind of feel. And I wanted to add some harmonics to that growling portion, the mid to high frequency range. So I use Supercharger GT. It has 3 filter settings. Mine is set on bright right now, where it emphasizes the higher frequencies and attenuates low frequencies. You have warm, where the low frequencies are emphasized and the high frequencies are attenuated, and fat, which emphasizes both low end and high end frequencies. But what if you wanted to get more detailed, right? Because you can do some sculpting with this plugin, but as far as getting really granular and focusing on very specific frequencies, you can't really do that here. So that's how the idea of parallel compression came up. So, well, first let me just play the original again. And this is how it sounded when I added my saturation preset. So I like how it sounded, but again, I wanted to dial in a little bit more into the mid frequency and give myself some more options. So I already have, parallel compression set up. I'm focusing more on the benefits right now. I'm not going to go through the entire process. So I have my original signal. Here's my duplicate. And I have an EQ open on the duplicate. And when doing parallel compression, you want to be careful of phasing issues and also how you blend in the signal, the duplicate signal, into the original source. Keep those things in mind, along with some other issues, but that's what first comes to mind. Now, initially, I tried to create a bandpass, right? But the shape is a little bit rigid, and I couldn't quite get the exact shape that I wanted. So I ended up creating my own. I created a low cut out those fundamental frequencies of the bass. I ended up cutting out too much, so I did need to leave a little bit of the low end in there. And I cut out those higher frequencies, and I'm left with this bandpass cutting out a nice chunk of the mid frequency. And so that really leads to my first reason, being that you can get a more detailed and nuanced application of the effect that you're trying to apply, in this case, compression and saturation. And let me open up my Supercharger instance. So I created 2 presets with that shape, that mid-frequency cutout. Let me just play the original again. Let me make sure this is off. Okay. Let's say the original. and this is one of the first presets I created. Right, so you can hear some of the harmonics, that harmonic distortion that's added to that specific frequency, right? And then here's the next preset I created. Let's take a listen to this one. So that one is even more aggressive, and you can hear even more of that harmonic distortion. So the second reason, it opens up creative possibilities and gives you more creative options. So now I can choose between many different sonic possibilities, and if I wanted to, I can go back to the EQ. I can adjust my curve. I can move it a little bit more to the higher mid frequencies. And again, that opens up even more possibilities for, more sonic character and more tonal shaping, right? And the third reason, you preserve the original dynamics of your sound source, right? If I play the original sound, right, I didn't want to touch the low end at all, really. And aside from potential phasing issues, but I didn't want to touch the low end. I didn't want to touch the high end. And I was able to carve out just the frequencies exactly how I wanted to use it and preserve those original dynamics. So to review, the first reason, you're able to get a more detailed and nuanced application of your effect with some EQ, of course, keeping in mind potential phasing issues, being mindful of how you're blending in the signal. And even just now, when I played my two presets, I could have adjusted the blend and changed the character of the sound. Second reason, opens up more creative possibilities. Um, Again, I can adjust the EQ, I can adjust my supercharger settings, and there's a number of different combinations I can create for tonal shaping, changing the character, creating new harmonics, so forth and so on. And of course, the third, you preserve those dynamics of the original sound source. So ultimately, I think you should check out Supercharger GT just as an insert, or even with using parallel compression to open up even more opportunities. And of course, being mindful of phasing, how you blend the duplicated signal and other issues that come up with parallel compression. But, learn the basics, get the rules down, and then this will be a perfect plugin to start breaking those rules. Thank y'all for tuning in. Stay positive, stay purposeful, stay creative, stay confident. Most of all, keep going. See you on the next one. MSM Audio.